welcome to Maverrik Live. I'm your host Luke T. I'm joined by Dave Faulkner.
Hello.
How you doing there?
I'm good, thank you.
So you've got the influencer look already because we're talking about the power of being an influencer.
Yeah, I mean, the football really let me down, but, and now I'm stuck with this. So that's just the way it is.
Oh, it's fine. You can take it a step further.
Yeah, I could shave it all off.
I mean, that is a step if you want to go that far. So we won't go into that. I think people have had enough of that in the past week.
Yeah, we're slowly getting. I think we're recovering emotionally from that now.
I think it's just looking at the World Cup now, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Just move to the next thing.
Bring it on.
So we're talking about how much power an influencer has. I talk a lot about influencers. I think I talked about with Jay quite a lot. But when it comes to the power of an influencer, you kind of, when you say influencer, what's the first thing that kind of pops into your head?
For me, it's social presence, like seeing someone all over social media. I think influencers, visually, they're everywhere, and that's their aim.
They got high figures, they got high engagement, they got brand deals, they're always there, like bam, bam, bam. They're like the leaders in their industry of whatever it is. So if you're thinking about gaming, you've got like the big top esports guys. You're thinking about just music, you've got, you know, the big artists that come out there.
I think it's not so much ability or talent anymore. Influencers, you can be, if you have a high following, you can build a living off of that nowadays.
Yeah, it's when you look at like let's bring drag reality stars down into like as soon as they're on, you've got that little bit of a kick. They always get those brand deals and they go a little bit further and they take their personality and bring it out there.
They used to walk down the street and no one knew who they were. They're on TV for 10 minutes and all of a sudden they've got 500,000 followers and they're getting deals left, right and centre. And
social media influence, it can be a little bit different because when you've got personal influencers like celebrities, you would say, you're online, it can be different because you can hide behind avatars like names, screens, brands. You can just put something out there, it can get big traction. And most artists, sometimes they'll want to remain anonymous because they don't want to deal with the brunt of it. Because it can be quite a harsh landscape when you've got that much of a following and that many views.
Yeah, I mean, you're under incredible scrutiny. Some people have been pulled up for, say, like Twitter, for example. There's been people that have gained a following out of nowhere, and then they've been pulled up on posts that they did 10 years ago. It's like the scrutiny that you're under, I mean, you've got to think, is it worth it in the end? Yeah,
monuments can get brought up and smashed down in like an instant.
Absolutely, yeah.
But at the same time, without that power of influence, it's a great marketing and sales tool. In our environment, to go out there and to sell and to market, you need awareness. That's a big thing. I was talking about the buying journey with Vasco on Monday, and we were talking about how awareness is such a high impact thing. So as soon as people are aware of you, they understand what you do and who you are. If you're a business, if you're a salesperson especially, they will come to you then when they want to, go into the decision-making stage of going with you to help solve that problem.
Absolutely. You think of someone with 500,000 followers, the reach that they're getting with, if you can understand why people want to sponsor them or get their products in their camera angle, in their camera view and things like that, because their reach is dramatically higher than what yours would be promoting your product. Even if you're working for a big company, you probably haven't got the reach of an influencer, because the good thing with influencers is that there's a lot of them with a very niche target that they've kind of, say, if you get famous as an influencer just for drinking fizzy drinks, say, all your following are most likely interested in fizzy drinks. So if Coca-Cola put themselves in their market or on that influencer's
you'll see a lot of the time they'll give them like brand deals to say, hey, try out my new product, my flavor, and then if they're like, oh, this is really nice.
And their audience, their audience is tailored for that. Whereas Coca-Cola, the head of marketing at Coca-Cola, his following, say it might be 50,000 people. That's usually like-minded people. That's not people buying the product. So hitting an influencer has such an influence, to say the word, on the target audience of a lot of these big brands.
You got that power to like elevate sort of small things, to showing like
this and crush it.
Yeah, and destroy it. Like you said with the football, as soon as they moved the Cokes out the way, that was it. Stocks dropped and the rest of it.
Absolutely.
But it's one of those things where people trust the influencers or the people they like to give them good advice. Dean's got a massive follower on LinkedIn. If he shared a sales tool he thought was really good, I bet probably like a couple thousand people would try it out, see how it works for themselves. And it kind of holds that responsibility of what you're saying, what you're promoting has to have that benefit.
Absolutely. I think especially B2C, so if you're targeting a consumer of a product, trust is massive. I won't buy it. If I go to a shop and I see a product that I've never heard of, unless I knew it was acquired by a big brand or something like that, I'm less likely to try it. Or unless I've heard good things, or somewhere someone said something to me, I'm less likely to try it. And I think that plays a massive part in it.
Yeah, I'm into, I'm going to say I'm into some craft beers, and there's a website I visit which I trust, and I go to them and go, oh look, if I know they're going to be good and viable and a good product because they stock them.
Yeah.
Whereas if you go to a different website which maybe like doesn't have a lot of reviews, or you had a bad experience with them in the past,
Absolutely.
and obviously they get stocked, a certain type of beer there, I'd be like, oh, I don't want to touch that, because obviously they're being associated with a bad practice I've had before.
Yeah.
It's the same in any community you get some websites have bad traction associated with them. So maybe if you went on wish.com, if your brand's on there, you think to yourself, okay, that's, there's memes about it of how terrible they are. So if you have that association, it can be quite detrimental to your your influence in a sense.
Yeah, I think a major thing that businesses and companies forget is brand awareness to build trust for things like that is so important. I think people try and release a product without marketing the product to well enough, causes the product to fail, and they don't know why, because it's such a brilliant product. But the product itself, if no one's trying it, no one knows how great it is. And until you can kind of market it in a way that influencers are great for it, they'll wear one brand of clothing over and over again.
Yeah.
And people just build up that trust, seeing them wear it time and time again, and it looks great on them. And it's so powerful. So
unless you're a big brand, would you say smaller brands could work with an influencer, or try and build their own influence, would you say?
I think you've got to do a bit of both. I think if you got an influencer you'll be lucky if you're a small brand to get that sort of deal, especially with someone with a really high following.
Yeah.
But if you did, it would be, I doubt you'd be able to cope with what you get in return for that.
Yeah, you'd have to do a lot of follow-ups chasing, like, oh, that was really good for us, we need to try and capitalize on what happened. Because I think before, if you have someone, maybe you can go a few years back and say someone likes your post or comments on your post who has a big following, it gives you a huge rub, doesn't it? Put you forward.
But then again, talking back to a point I said earlier about having a niche audience, an influencer doesn't have to have 500,000 followers. So if you're an influencer in the watch market and you've only got 10,000 people, but they're specifically targeting a type of watch, and they're promoting a type of watch, or like I've seen, you get Pokemon influencers, or you get gaming influencers, or drinks, and if depending on their niche target, if you're a small brand but you get in with that niche target, that specifically your target audience, then it would have the same effect.
Yeah, just take a look at the engagement with community. Maybe not, instead of doing business with them straight away, check them out, check out what they do, how valued they are, their opinion is. Especially if you go with someone who's probably not going to enjoy your brand. Like, you try to work with them and they did a review on your product and they didn't like that kind of product, they would probably say something negative about it. So say you was talking about someone who did only play, maybe it was go into video games, but only play single player games, and you got a guy who only plays multiplayer games to review it.
Yeah.
Experience is different. So
exactly.
Picking and choosing influencers, you might not get the valid reception or opinion on your product, because if you want to know if it's good or not, you can go to a reviewer. But if you go to just the ones who are going to like your product, it'd be good for the marketing, which is great, but you won't actually know if the product's any good.
Yeah.
Other way around, if you went to and give a product to an influencer who predominantly doesn't like the type of product you're selling, then you're going to get a bad reception either way, aren't you?
Yeah, 100%. I think nowadays just to touch on top of this about, we're talking a lot from the business point of view of should you use an influencer for marketing and things like that, which is something that is a great point. But talking about if you wanted to become an influencer yourself, do you have any good points on that?
Yeah, so I would say personally it's all about being consistent, putting content out there and getting and building that audience.
Yeah.
Most of the time it's not being afraid to join in with your community. You're not going to put yourself on a pedestal and just say, look, I am the influencer now. You need to get in with people and say, look, I really enjoy, say we're talking about design, and I was like, right, I want to talk to you about the tools you use, obviously what I use, collaborate a little bit, sort of build an audience, and then people sort of gradually build you up as it comes along. Build a network of people who do the same kind of thing, I would say. Maybe not if you're trying to get target audience and brand and sales, but if you want to become an influencer, you need to first become a very, in the top of your field in a sense.
Yeah.
You want to put yourself above there to make sure your input and your knowledge is valuable, and then you can start building that, and then you can start selling down.
So do you think then being an influencer and having it grow in your audience, do you think it's better to have a niche audience with less, maybe 1,000 people, but they're specific to a product, or to try and grow it as high as possible, but not really focus on a specific topic?
I feel like you should niche down very much at the start, and like obviously we want to talk to the right people.
Yeah.
Because you need to know what your hardcore fans are going to like.
Yeah.
Like if you want to try and build that community of like people who really like your product. I think there's a saying about followers and fans. You need to turn your followers into fans. So you need to make like these hardcore people who, like, whatever you put out there, are the first people to tell you if it's good or not, or if they like it. They're going to be on it straight away. They're going to be pushing your content right at the start because they're eager for the next bit that comes out. And if you just have a really wide net with not a lot of people engaged, it kind of falls a little bit flat, I'd say.
Yeah.
Or you can have people commenting and arguing, and you can build up like a weird, like, toxic fan base, I'd say.
That's it. I think you grow, when you start off, you need to grow in a way that you learn from the comments, from your responses. So you might, I think a lot of YouTubers or people putting videos out there that are trying to do a similar thing, they're learning each time they do a video. They're asking the audience now, what did you like about that? Do you want to see more of this content?
What are you interested in? How can I take this further?
It's good research.
Yeah, we put out a few webcasts before where it was not a lot of people were interested in that certain topic, and we worked out why, refined it, and then found out what people needed to know, what they wanted to know. And now we're getting like these sellout boot camps or webinars is because we had to refine that.
Yeah, I think businesses can learn from the influencer strategy, which is maybe something we can talk about on a different live.
We can pick it apart. Yeah.
Exactly.
But for now, the power an influencer has is something which isn't just exclusive now to celebrities. I would say anyone can become an influencer as long as they take the time to produce the right content, put themselves out there, and then build up that community.
I think the key points to take away from the powers would be their influence on the market and their ability to build trust within the market.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, Dave, for coming down.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you all for watching Maverrik Live. We'll be back for our next show. Don't forget to subscribe to us, obviously, and like and comment. Make us the influencers that you want to see every day. And we will see you next time for our Maverrik Live.